Hey, everybody, and welcome to another Stucant Expert Session. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Andrea Parrish from Tiny Tall Consulting. Andrea has spent the last 15 years working in digital and social media. She spent 3 years working to promote Gonzaga School of Law, spent 5 years building and operationalizing the social media program at the Inland Northwest Credit Union, STCU, and currently consults in several business verticals while presenting training and keynote speeches through her firm, Tiny Tall Consulting. We are so happy to have you on today, Andrea. Take it away.
Thank you so much for that introduction. When I first started doing social media management as a career, I fully admit I had no idea what I was getting into. So today, I want to talk to you about what the day-to-day life of a corporate social media manager actually looks like, what the different specializations of work that you could be doing actually are, what kind of an impact they have on the business, and what that kind of a job means for your career, both emotionally and financially. When we're talking about social media management as something that you do every single day, the day-to-day life of what you're going to be putting your energy towards, you're talking about a variety of different positions. In fact, the kind of social media management that you will be doing depends really heavily on two things. First, what kind of a team you're going to be working on. And second, what kind of a maturity their social media management program has. For example, let's look at two different kinds of organizations. You could have a nonprofit that's brand new, just started. They have one person whose responsibility might be not only program management, but also social media and also stuffing envelopes when it's necessary. They might have a couple hours a day at max to spend on social media, and they maybe possibly have just a Facebook page. On the other hand, you could be talking about a corporation that has an incredibly mature social media program that has 5 different networks that they are on, providing content for them on a regular basis, and a member service or customer service team of 5, 10, or even 30 people. Both of those organizations and both of those corporations have social media managers, and both of them are completely legitimate career paths. However, they require two slightly different skill sets. One, the nonprofit, needs more of a social media generalist, while the other might need a social media specialist, somebody who is really good at just one part of social media management. But either way, your day-to-day life is going to be impacted by the kinds of work you're going to be doing. And the types of work that are involved in social media management is a lot more than most people realize. First of all, there is what most people are totally comfortable with, the outbound content portion. Now, this is where you are actually creating content, where you're going out and writing, you're creating photographs, you're taking videos and editing them, you're putting up Instagram live stories, you're attending events. Really, this is the kind of work where you are digging up the stories of an organization. You are helping tell a story in the voice of that organization. And you need to be keenly aware of what your audience actually wants. And in survey after survey, this most recent one from 2019, they found that 50% of people or more want posts that educate, that entertain, and posts that provide value. What they don't want are organizations that navel gaze, that attempt to be cool, or that are obviously trying to sell to them. Frankly, we want to engage and be social on social media. And that outbound content portion of social media usually takes up anywhere from 30 to 50% of my day. However, it can be a little bit more planned. You can take a day and plan most of the content out for a week or more. So it's a portion of social media management that's a little bit more controllable and involves really truly getting to know the organization you're working with. On the other hand, you also have the inbound service side. When you put up an awesome post, your number one hope usually is that people respond. And you, as a social media manager or the organization in general, needs to actually respond back and have a conversation. The inbound service side of social media has a huge impact on the work you're doing. Some organizations include this as a part of the customer service team. There are a couple credit unions that I know of who just have the member service on social media as a part of their call center. Or Southwest Airlines has an entire separate member service team for their social media. Or if you are more of a one-person shop, this could be anywhere from 5 to 95% of your day, depending on how busy of a day it is, or frankly, what kind of disasters are blowing up, what kinds of questions people are asking. This is a side that is a lot more spontaneous when it comes to social media. And that also means that you are dealing with a 24/7 primary communications channel. Social media is the number one place people go to find out what's going on, to get their questions answered, or frankly, to just watch as something burns. Even press conferences are more often watched on Facebook live stream these days than they are on actual television. So being a social media manager means that you could be on 24/7. You need to have some kind of on-call and off-call schedule. If you're lucky and the organization already supports this, great. But if you are a new social media manager, it is extraordinarily important to set expectations about what on-call will look like and who takes your responsibilities when you are off-call, be it on vacation or just taking a weekend to not have to look at your phone. Whatever it is, you're usually going to be dealing with a multitude of responsibilities at times outside of normal business hours. And so you personally, and as a corporation, need to figure out what that looks like. And it's important that you figure out what that looks like because a big portion of a corporate social media manager's job is making the case for social media management. It's telling the story of the work that you are actually doing and how that work impacts the organization's bottom line. Because frankly, not all decision makers understand that a really great post on Twitter can, in fact, lead to sales, especially if you are not in a direct product selling business. So some of the statistics that can be really helpful in making that case include the fact that 87% of people report that they comparison shop for nearly every single purchase. And more that comparison shopping is happening on social media. We shop on Instagram for clothes. We shop on Facebook for services by asking our friends what they would recommend. Whatever it is, people do comparison shop. And you need to be there as a social media manager to provide information for people to actually look at when they are doing that comparison. Additionally, in addition to that sales work, you are also going to be doing customer service work on the inbound side. Keeping in mind that 57% of people will shun a business when they have a bad digital care experience, it's really important for an organization to understand that not only can they get customers on social media, but they can also retain customers. And customer retention is often less expensive and has a better income than getting a new customer because it doesn't take as much work. It just takes a different kind of work. And in addition to both sales and customer service, social media management is also public relations. When people decide to rubberneck when something goes wrong or when something happens and you need to get the story out there, it's social media that's involved in that public relations. 25% of current market value of an organization is attributable to reputation. So when you really want to make the case, you're making the case that social media is in fact a public relations function as well. But knowing that you are doing sales and you're doing customer service and you're doing public relations, what does that actually mean for you as a career? Well, there's a couple of realities of this kind of a career that you should know going in. First of all, as Wired Magazine originally reported, social media is known more often than not as a pink-collar job. 70 to 80% of social media managers self-identify as women. Now, this has a couple of different impacts. First of all, if you are a female identified person who is going into social media management, know that while you may have an easier time being hired, it is important that you make the case that your position involves a heck of a lot more than customer service and requires the same kind of pay and the same kind of support that technical positions often get without question. On the other hand, if you are a male identified person who is going into social media management, it's really important that you make the case that your position is more than technical. It is also public relations, marketing, and communications. And you need to have a direct line to those departments or to those people within the organization, whichever side you're on. Or if you are somewhere in the middle, it doesn't really matter. It just means that you need to approach the hiring and the promotion and support of that position very carefully. In fact, social media is often a very high responsibility and low authority job. You end up time and time again dealing with people like this, with people saying, get someone in charge to answer these allegations. I can't believe you misspelled that. Now, we all make mistakes. It's human beings on both sides of the screen. But when somebody is truly fired up, it is the person behind the keyboard representing the organization on social media that people often put the brunt of their frustration on. And that is probably going to be you, which means that you are doing a lot of emotional labor on behalf of your organization. And that can get exhausting. In fact, 48% of social media managers report that they work 9 hours a day or more. So if you are in that kind of a position, you need to make sure to negotiate that you are either paid very well for that time or you're willing to work those long hours to ensure that you are doing a very good job. Now, that being said, you can be paid very well for social media management. In 2019, freelance social media managers made on average $25 to $120 an hour. Now, obviously, that depends on your level of experience and it depends on the kind of organization you're working for. But whatever you're looking at, you are looking at making a fairly good income as a freelancer. But if you want a little bit more predictability, if you want benefits and you want support of a corporation, you can probably expect to make between $45,000 and $97,000 per year on average. This is for a social media specialist, and this is for the kind of position where you might be doing a little bit of everything. Now, whichever kind of position you end up in, being a social media manager means that you are going into a position where you do a lot of things. You tell a story of an organization. You speak for the organization. You spend a significant amount of your time just justifying to others that your job is in fact useful. But you also get to spend a lot of time helping people, engaging in the social side of social media, and that can be extraordinarily powerful. The big wins may not look as big as you might imagine, and sometimes they do. Sometimes you get somebody on Instagram with 500,000 followers to give you a shout out without you even asking. But most of the time, your big wins are things like people saying, I've been super impressed with the responses that this organization is posting, or hey, this social media manager is doing a great job. Whatever it is, if you find enjoyment and if you appreciate and if you really want to get those kinds of kudos and if you really enjoy doing a variety of different things in your day-to-day life, then social media management can be a truly fulfilling career. Now, if you want to see sources for any of the statistics that I've quoted, if you want to see more statistics because, well, frankly, I'm a research nerd, or read more of my rants, you are welcome to go to andreaparrish.com, or you are always welcome to tweet or send me a LinkedIn message with any questions that you might have. I've been doing corporate social media management in some form or fashion for most of my career, and so I am happy to help you however I can. I'm at Tiny Tall, both on Instagram, on Twitter, and on LinkedIn, and I hope to hear from you if you do have questions. Thank you so much to Stu Kent for the opportunity, and I hope you all have an awesome day.